Well, now for the top story tonight, is America becoming a me-first country? Joining us now from Boston, Dr. Keith Ablow, a forensic psychiatrist and author of the book Living the Truth. And here in the New York studio, Dr. Andrea Macari, a clinical psychologist. All right, Dr. Macari, begin with you. I mean, there's no question this guy's not telling the truth. Speaker, he's not. Because his wife was very emotional. She told the truth. They thought this guy was going to die, and they said, we're getting out of here, and we don't really care what happens. Correct?
I don't know. I think all...
You don't know? Did you just hear it?
I think all acts are selfish, Bill. Selflessness is really just an illusion. Any behavior, even those which seem selfless, actually are motivated by personal gratification.
So everybody's selfish in whatever they do?
Absolutely.
Mother Teresa is going to be mad at you. He's a woman who gave up her life to go to Calcutta to work among the most diseased people on earth, and you're telling she had selfish motives?
Well, she had internal selfish motives. She wanted to have personal gratification, satisfaction. Selfishness doesn't just mean money, attention, fame. It also has to do with how you feel on the inside. So that's what I mean by selfishness being present in every act.
Would you have done what Speaker did?
Well, I think all of us would like to think that we wouldn't do that. We would do the right thing.
Do you know yourself well enough to say I would or would not have done it?
I think when the CDC won't stand by you, and I think that you don't have any other options, and the survival instinct is just that strong, you might get on that plane and go to Denver.
I would not. There's no way on earth I would have got on that plane.
But see, I think it's that type of judgment and self-righteousness.
I'm not being self-righteous. I'm telling you what I would have done.
I don't know. I don't know,
All right, well, you and I are different people, because I know for certain that if I had a communicable disease and I was told to stay in a place like Italy, I would have done, where do I go and how do I not hurt my wife and other people? Well, that's my question. That's what I would have asked, and they would have said, you go here, and I would have gone there. Yeah, you find that hard to believe, don't you? You find that really hard to believe, don't you, Doctor?
I think that when you're very wealthy and that you have all the resources in the world, it's easy to make that decision. But I think sometimes...
This guy had plenty of money. He had plenty of money. His father works for the CDC. He has plenty of connections and money. It's not so push. Nope. He graduated as an attorney. He graduated from the Naval Academy.
I don't know. They claim they called everybody from the bottom to the top, and nobody would help him.
And he claimed he didn't know how serious his disease was, and his wife says 2 seconds later they thought he was going to die. How do you see this, Dr. Ablow?
Well, here's how I see it. Listen, I just heard a bit of psychological equivocation from the good doctor. This isn't a judgmentless craft that we practice. In other words, it isn't the same to be selfish and put others in harm's way as it is to be selfish like Mother Teresa and take some gratification from helping other people. Those are things that we, even as psychiatrists and psychologists, can say, look, we prefer and we applaud the second and not the first. Listen to the guy's words. He was arguing back to the CDC. He said, well, what's changed? Why are you holding me here in Italy? He wanted to put himself first. And listen, Bill, I promise you, I don't know this guy, Speakman, but the bottom line is very rarely is one event that we hear about on the world stage the entirety of a man's character. I would suggest that it might be worthwhile to go back, as Speakman, I think, has invited us to do in a certain way, and sort of track the characterological development that led to this moment. It's not worthy of applause.
I don't really even care about that. Look, he is what he is. He did what he did. The folks can decide. Now, the bigger question is, Dr. Macari, are we as a society now changing into a me-first society from kind of a traditional, when you were in the Depression, World War II, there was much more self-sacrifice in America than there is now. Are we changing into a me-first?
I don't necessarily think so. I think we've always been a me-first. If we look from a social evolution perspective, the selfish genes are the ones that get passed on. It's what enables us to survive.
All right. How about you, Dr. Ablow? You think we're changing?
I'm sorry, there's a difference between deciding how high you want your iPod turned up and which beach you're going to land on to support your country. And calling that a selfish decision muddies the waters, and it doesn't credit human goodness and decency, which even, again, psychiatry can't be about just leveling the playing field, so we say everyone's selfish.
The country, is the country changing toward a speaker point of view that, look, this is me, and I'm in trouble. I'm going to do what I have to do to get out of trouble, and if somebody else gets infected, tough. Are we changing into that kind of a country?
I think there's the real risk that we are, and why? Because we don't have ourselves in hand at all. So what are we doing? We're trying to make ourselves feel good. Anything that feels good for the moment is the thing that we're grasping. If you have to deal with fear, you're going to get on the plane.
So you feel America's always been a selfish thing. It's an inherited thing with the genes. But again, I would not have done what this guy did, but you might have.
I might have. I don't think you can ever put yourself in someone's shoes until you're actually in that position.
Okay. Interesting discussion.
that's
Thank you very
dangerous
much.
ground.
We appreciate it.